snowing here in the UK. My phone's getting wet, but I'm just out here checking on the old rabbits. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to about a day later from the last recording. I thought that I'll do a video highlighting the weather, and the best way to do that is talk about what to do with your animals when it is quite cold. As you know, I have 2 rabbits, and in these sort of times it can be quite scary working with animals outside. In temperatures at night, it's dropping to about -5 and maybe even more, who knows. Now, if you didn't do anything and just left your animals out, say on a slab of concrete or in a metal cage, your animals, chances are, won't make it. However, if you've got animals in the right sort of situations where there is substrate and you are feeding them and making sure they are still active and healthy, then they will the chances of them surviving is a bit higher. They probably will survive. These animals are animals that will be found in colder climates. Some rabbits even have different furs, so they might even survive better than other rabbits. Another thing you need to be aware of is what animals you've got. Misty. This here is a rabbit, of course, but some people might have guinea pigs. Now, guinea pigs cannot survive out in the cold. It's quite windy, so the breeze as well does add to that feeling of cold. So if your animals are skinny, if they're ill, or if they're not quite a large, bulky animal, then you will need to do certain measures. With Misty, chances are I could probably get away with putting her through anything. She is a hardy, big, bulky rabbit. However, Roger there is a much more skinny rabbit. He would not be okay out in the freezing cold for a long period of time. So what I have to do are certain things to make sure the animal's temperature, body temperature, will not go lower than it should be. Misty. So what are these measures? Well, the first thing that you can do to heat up your animals is, of course, substrate. This is the main one, this is the big one. What you do is you basically pack in as much substrate as you can. This is actually the outside area, the larger area, and this is actually caused sort of a wind tunnel going through either side, which is why it's so windy. Here, these animals won't be out into this at night time. They will, chances are, will go up on their own. However, I do not lock them up because they are recently added together. If I did lock them up, something could go wrong, they could get startled. So in order to make sure that if they were caught down here and didn't want to go up and just decide to sleep here, they had enough substrate in order to keep themselves warm. They do have a hide here, that's also got straw in it, but the whole ground is covered in about 4 inches of hay. It works fine. It's a good food source and it's great. As long as you don't use it constantly and you clean it out if it gets wet all the time, it should be fine. If it gets wet, you need to clean it out, though, because it can actually go mouldy and it grows fungus, which is bad for your animals. It's bad for the respiratory system, and you get some really serious problems if you do that. The next thing to do is to make sure your water dishes are full of lukewarm water. They will ice over. Every night they will ice over. I would recommend going out twice a day, at least, maybe even 3 times a day. Fill it up with lukewarm or even hot water. Make sure the arrows don't come straight over if it is hot, because you just pour it straight on, the ice will melt, and you will have lukewarm water then. Why lukewarm? It's because it won't freeze as easy, as well as when they drink it, it will be sort of warm. It'll be like drinking a cup of tea or a coffee. So it's nice. It's nice for them. The third thing is making sure they are eating. If they go off food, their bodies aren't working properly, they're not going constantly and digesting food. This is also a problem, because if they're digesting food, then they will not produce heat from that process. Body heat is produced with a couple of things. The main factors of those is the production of gases when you break down foods, the releasing of those gases, and it makes heat. So if they're not digesting food and if they're not eating, they are not producing their own body heat as efficient as they would be when they are eating. So make sure they're eating a lot of food, a decent amount, as well as not just the hay here, this helps quite a bit, but giving them a bit more sugar, carrots, maybe even some romaine lettuce for energy. The more energy, the more food, the more heat, and that will assure that your animals are healthy in this sort of situation. The final thing you need to do is just not panic. This is the most important thing. You know, I could be sitting somewhere panicking about my animals all day, every day. You just need to chill out and relax. Nothing will happen if you just relax and think through things step by step. Plan ahead and make sure you look at the temperatures that are coming up. If it gets so bad that it's like extreme temperatures, then maybe it's time to either lock them up in a smaller area, like I have over in different areas, a smaller version of this, lock them up in it, to pack it with straw and different substrates, make sure they're warm, get some heat packs maybe, just to last the night, or even just bring them inside. Anyway, I hope you did find this to some use. I don't know, but this is what I tend to do in these sort of situations. Just make sure you keep an eye on your animals, make sure they're doing everything right, maybe even go out in the middle of the night just to make sure if they are doing what they're doing. You know, one of them might be crazy and just walk around the most barren area of the enclosure, who knows. But just make sure you know what you're doing, and you make sure you know what your animals are doing. Hope you enjoy your animals, and I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching. See you later.